Hello, welcome everybody.
Good
September
morning.
in Pearland.
Yeah,
Talk of the town. We're back to our 9 o'clock schedule. Last month we tested the 10 o'clock hour,
hmm
and we're going to keep doing this in different formats, making
yep,
sure we're getting you all the information you need, and in a way that we
absolutely.
can
Well, I hope
talk
everybody
about it.
has their umbrella ready for today. I'm hearing we may have some pretty severe rain.
Which I thought we were supposed to
Uh,
get some yesterday
yeah,
too, but that
this
cold front's coming
afternoon
through.
and then this evening. So,
Yeah.
like always, be prepared to have your umbrella in the vehicle and get ready for it.
That's right.
So,
And we're still in hurricane season, so always
yep,
be prepared for that. We talk about that a lot.
yep.
I brought my raincoat with me today,
There you
just in
go.
case.
All right. My
And
umbrella's in the truck. Doesn't do me any good in the
I was going to say,
building,
yeah, yeah,
but
you need two of them
yeah.
really to put you in two different locations. So into September,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a pretty casual month. You haven't had a whole lot going on, huh?
I can't
Just
think of anything
hanging
off the
out.
top of my head,
Yeah.
and that's out there that's important or anything like that. That's right. Budget was approved on Monday, so
Oh, that's right. I
yeah,
forgot about that. Man, it feels
got
like
all that done and wrapped up. So
yeah.
um,
How was that?
actually, Monday night was kind of anticlimactic, if you will. Second reading should be.
Sure.
We've
Well,
had
we've been talking about this for
we've had
months and months and
budget
months.
talks really start in February. Most people don't realize, we get the formal budget to us in July and August,
Yeah.
and but it starts all the way back with our strategic planning initiative and retreat, early February, late January, somewhere in that time frame, and that drives the goals, that drives the initiatives, that drives the strategic priorities from council to the city manager's office, and then working with the rest of the team for the rest of the year to then develop the budget,
Yeah.
that comes out in true form,
And
that we get.
and each
So
of those meetings is listed out in the Office of Budget and Management.
hmm
The conversations were broken down into early budget input and then special funds throughout the summer to try to
yep,
simplify things
yeah,
and make sure that each conversation had the opportunity to have
yeah,
the
and
breadth
that
it needed.
helped, this year because we didn't have to necessarily dive into all the property tax backed parts of the budget
Yeah,
were held till August. Everything else
because we
from
don't get our tax
correct,
valuations.
because it takes a while to get the final values from the counties, and we're in
Hmm.
3 counties, and so it just takes a while to get all those. And even after our budget was published and moving forward, we got Harris County final numbers even after that was in print.
Yeah,
So there's a point in time where we just have to go off of the best information that we have, and then move forward. But prior to that, so anything like the economic development budget, the Visit Pearland,
hmm
budget,
which are
um,
hotel occupancy tax and
right,
sales tax
and sales
respectively.
tax receipts, and then we kind of know those numbers. We kind of know how to process, those budgets. They're smaller budgets, but we can
Sure.
quote unquote get that out of the way, have that discussion, move it, and we're not talking about those along with the regular,
Yep.
general fund budget. Debt service is pretty easy.
Hmm.
It's a fixed number,
Right.
so that part of our budget's fairly simple. And then the enterprise fund, water and sewer, those types of
Which is
things,
completely separate from
completely
the
separate from property
property tax.
taxes and sales taxes. And
And when we
so
say enterprise fund, that's the Pearland Water.
Pearland water,
So your water bill
right,
pays for that fund, and it's a
right,
self-sustaining fund.
right. And so we're able to do those budgets in July. We got those discussions kind of done, and as we're waiting for the other, and so it really made our August budget workshops a little smoother because we could then really delve into the property tax backed,
Yeah.
portion of our budget, really getting into the nuts and bolts of what we do as a city: police, fire,
Fire.
EMS,
Yep.
public works, parks, and the related, departments that are internal departments that service, all of that, like HR,
Yep.
IT, finance,
Communications. Yep.
communications, and the like. So,
Well, and
um,
in this budget too, I mean, adds to streets.
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
so let's talk about that a little bit.
sure.
I'd like to talk about that. So as we know, we've had some challenges in maintaining street repair
Hmm.
and those types of things, and so I really want to let people know kind of where, what, and how we got where we are.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've made this link during the budget discussions. And so I kind of want to talk about it with our residents. But I think it was 2012. So let's go back a decade plus.
Okay.
13 years ago, the city council at that time made a conscious decision for our fire department. At that moment, we had a combo department, meaning we had volunteers and we had paid staff.
Yep.
And our volunteers really came to the city and they said, we're having a harder and harder time getting volunteers into the department, number one. But number two, just getting the work done and coverage for our city.
But what do you think that was because of the growth in the city?
I think it was two things. I think it was just the sheer work and your volunteering, I think, is hard.
Yeah. Sure.
People will say, well, Pasadena does it.
Right.
It's all volunteer. So let's talk how they do that.
Sort of, yeah.
All of the chemical plants over there in Pasadena have paid fire staff inside the gate. Okay. And part of their work contract requires them to be a volunteer for the city.
So it's they're being voluntold.
They're being voluntold to be a part of it.
Which
so
I'm sure they're more than happy to do it.
And so it works. It works for that city. But if they didn't have the plants and didn't have all that, it would be a different scenario, right? So it was just harder and harder. So the city council made a decision, let's build a professional paid staff.
Yep.
And so from that moment to now, we've seen our Pearland Fire Department, grow, change over time to a full paid professional department. Okay. All of our members over there are dual certified. They're firefighters as well as EMTs and those types of things. And so really done that. So I say all that the money, the time, the effort, and everything else for the last 13 years to build that. Okay.
Because you're talking apparatus, you're talking
fire
stations,
people,
bunker gear,
people, and the like. And so, and it's the second largest all paid professional fire department in the Gulf Coast region, behind Houston.
Wow.
Now, obviously, they're way bigger and we're down here, but
sure.
Still the second largest. And so I say that because every department in the city, due to the tax dollar that we bring in, had to take sacrifices.
Right.
We get asked a lot, why can't you be like, people at home? Well, you sacrifice this and you sacrifice that to do certain things. Well, the city does. We look at priorities, we look at certain things, and we have priorities, and then we have priorities of priorities.
Right. And public safe community is one of our
safe community is one of our ultimate strategic priorities. And so every department sacrificed in order for us to build the fire department.
Sure.
Okay. Meaning streets sacrificed.
Yep.
So from that point to a few years ago, $1 million a year is all that got spent in streets and sidewalks.
When the data we had was saying that we needed
about
$2.5 million.
About in 2014, we did a condition pavement index, the first one, and it said we needed about 4.9
that's right.
million a year to go in to
Just
keep
for
the index, for maintenance, to keep the index where it was. And obviously, we were a quarter of that, right? And so, it took us, now that we're more stabilized in the growing of the fire department.
It's pretty well baked.
And we still have another station to go, and we're trying to determine when and where and how we're going to bring that online. But having said that, streets, the last couple of budgets, we've been increasing that. We've gone from $1 million, we've been adding $500,000 a year till we get to a certain number. So this past year was at 2 million, or we were at 2 million. Instead of doing another 500,000, taking it to 2.5, we added 800,000 to get it to 2.8. So this budget has grown our streets and sidewalk rehab and maintenance fund now in the budget to 2.8. Keep in mind, we had the sidewalk portion of the 2023 bond program for gaps.
$15 million.
It was $15 million for that, and that allowed us to, and we're still doing that program. We're still rolling it out, but that sidewalk was meant to get our sidewalks caught up. Now we're trying to get our streets caught up
Yep.
where we can start advancing and doing more in that arena. And so we know, and we didn't know as a city in 2012 that we would have major flood in 2017, ice storm in 21,
Droughts,
droughts,
yeah.
and all of those kind of things,
which have a significant impact on our asphalt streets,
which have a
especially.
huge impact on our asphalt streets.
Well, really all of them, but I mean, our concrete streets
Yeah.
are so new,
Well,
fortunately.
All of those have a major effect on the ground underneath the sub base.
Yep.
And so as the sub base deteriorates, especially because of a drought, it has huge effects up at the riding surface. So I say all that these are things that we work through, and we don't have unlimited funds.
Sure.
I know some people think that we just are crazy with tax money and all that kind of stuff, but we're not.
Right.
At the end of the day, two departments, police and fire, make up 61% of our budget.
Yep.
Okay. Then you've got public works, streets, drainage, the nuts and bolts of what a city does.
Right away. Yep.
All the right of way stuff, all of those kind of things. And then you have parks, and parks. And then, so those four probably make up 85-ish% of our budget. And then you have all of the other departments, like I said, finance, HR,
community development.
Community development's kind of on its own.
That's true. Yeah, it kind of pays for itself. Yeah.
And when you get to that, then those departments help these four. One of the things that I have pushed for the last 5 years, our council has bought into it, and our staff has bought into, and that is the strategic priority focus, and that's what drives our budget.
Yep.
And so I'm a big believer in that government should do what it is supposed to do.
Sure.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Right. Yep.
Okay. And do it with excellence, and do it the best they know how,
Sure.
and as efficiently as they can, which means we are always looking for ways to be more efficient in how we do our work.
And we're always connecting the dots between what we're charged with doing, the product, right, and the resources, the staff, the budgets, with those things. If they don't connect to that thing,
right,
could we really justify it or not?
Yeah. So I actually got asked by a new employee over New Employee Experience last week or 2 weeks ago. He asked, he goes, I hear people talk about they want government to run like a business. Can you speak to that? And I said, well, we try to do that the best we can. So what do businesses do? Right. And I said, we don't sell a product for profit. It's not like we're Starbucks and selling coffee, or it's not like, we're manufacturing something and selling it for profit. We do sell water and those services as a business enterprise, but we do it not for profit, but for the service, right? But what do businesses do? They set priorities, they set a strategic plan, and then they move towards that. That's what we do with our strategic priorities. We look at best practices on how to deliver our services. We look at efficiencies. I'll give you an example. Most of our public don't really know, like 2.5 years ago, when Trent came in as city manager, Trent Epperson, he asked the council, he goes, I want to do a fraud and embezzlement study. I want a baseline. I want to see where the holes are, if any. The good news is no embezzlement was uncovered. But the other side of it, we had some weaknesses that could lead to fraud, or could lead to some embezzlement, right? So let's shore those up. Let's make sure that boat is secure, no holes in it, and move forward. Well, we have retained that group. It's called 65th North Group, for about the cost of what it would take for an employee with benefits and everything else to be on staff. What I like about this, and so they're our internal audit group that can go in and be laser focused in a department and go in and look at scheduling, look at staffing, proper levels of staffing to deliver the service. They can go and look at how we're doing some of our financial things. People know that we have purchase cards, P cards, for certain employees. Well, we've taken the number of those from here down to here. Why? That could lead to a lot of loss.
Right. There's a lot of risk
and so we want to take that risk away. We want to take that opportunity and the internal controls on how we do our cash flow the right way,
while balancing being able to purchase the things that need to be purchased, get the job done effectively. Right. That's a very difficult line to navigate
Right.
effectively, especially with, I think, 940 employees
Yeah.
and so many different departments. And
Yeah. And for example, in fire and police both have lots of overtime budgets. And so
Mhm.
the question is, do you hire somebody or do you pay overtime?
Right.
And there's a
There's a balance.
you're probably always going to have some overtime.
Sure.
And then what's that balance? And so with 65th North, for example, they came in and analyzed the fire department and made some recommendations on how they do some of their scheduling to bring overtime down. Okay.
Mhm.
To bring overtime down, which saves the taxpayers,
Yep.
some money, and not necessarily
Without
having
putting a
to,
burden on the.
well, and not necessarily replacing that overtime with people.
Mhm.
And so again, more efficient, better use of our tax money in the right way. Businesses do that.
Right.
That's what businesses do. We do salary
Perpetual
surveys.
optimization.
We do those types of things to make sure that our people are being paid. There's a market for
Right.
firefighters. There's a market for policemen. There's
And-
a market for communications and those types of things.
And we're subject to the forces just like private industry is, right? Bullets, vehicles, I mean, gasoline, everything that we
All that.
purchase, just like everybody else purchases, it costs money.
Yeah.
And there's a
And-
market rate for all
and
that.
yeah,
stuff.
we're paper,
People.
things of that nature are all, going up. We're subject to inflationary. I'll give an example. People are going to be shocked by this number, but I remember kind of in the height of the inflation, just exploding on everything. So go back 3 years,
Mhm.
2 years, somewhere in that ballpark. Over in our enterprise fund, the water and sewer, Pearland water side, we rebid every one of our chemicals because, those plants come in, we have to chemically treat
Mhm.
both incoming water and outgoing raw sewage. And all of our chemicals went up 40%.
Yep.
Not
Just
the
like
not
that.
the inflation rate of 8 or 9.
Right.
40.
Yep.
And it's not a matter of we have to do this.
Right.
This is mandated.
We can't not treat the
We
water.
can't not treat the water. And so, and we bid, I think we rebid.
Mhm.
Who is not on here that we should be bidding? And so we're subject to those things just like anybody else. And so,
And at the same time, another great example, I think, of the city working as efficiently and effectively as possible, surface water treatment plant, right? Did the guaranteed maximum price
Yep.
The contract structure on that, which allowed we let a lot of pre-bid work, anticipating that some of those cost
Sure.
increases were coming, and that contractor was able to go out and purchase materials before prices went up.
correct.
So we're sensitive to those market forces, and
Again, that in private business,
Yep.
and you're building a structure of that size, that's the kind of thing you do.
Yep.
We did a guaranteed max price on that. We did a construction manager at risk,
Yep.
CMAR.
CMAR, yep.
And if it goes over it, and we
They
didn't
eat the
change
cost, yep.
anything, they eat that cost.
Yep.
So there, we shifted the risk to them and away from the ratepayers, in our water and sewer funds. So again, that's a good way to do things.
Not to mention how that was funded with, it's a $170 million project. We don't just keep $170 million in the bank. If we did, people would probably lose their minds over it. But the financing that we got for that project was less than a percentage.
Yeah, it was it
Less than
all in was
1%?
about a half a point.
Over 30 years. I mean, that's an interest
over
rate
25 or 30 years, super low interest. Texas Water Development Board through the state. If you hear about those types of things through the state, that was that program. And I'll say this: even if we had $170 million in the bank to pay cash for that, the best business decision would have still done
the finance.
the finances, so you can do something else with your cash.
Sure.
Because that's what businesses do.
Right.
Businesses will build up cash and they'll go, no, for the cost of money at a half a point, that's not the cost today.
Right. But when we did
the cost today may be 3 or 4%, because of the government
Markets,
side of
yep.
it. But even then, at a half a point, the business decision is, hey, I'm going to use somebody else's money to do that. I'm going to use mine to make more money.
Yep.
That's what business does, right? And so we do a lot of those types of things to make it the right way. I'm a big believer that government needs to do exactly what it needs to do, nothing more, nothing less. So we drill it down. What does a city do? What are our responsibilities?
Yep.
What's the responsibilities of the drainage district? What's the responsibilities of the county? What's the responsibility of the state? What's the responsibility of nonprofits? Maybe there's a
Right.
organization that we can partner with or push certain ideas to have them be the ones to go and do that. It doesn't have to be the taxpayer.
Sure.
Our federal government is a great example of doing things that I don't know that government should be doing necessarily,
Yeah.
right? And that's the reason why you get the bloated budgets and the bloated stuff. And so you drill that down to the locals, and we want to do exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Now, having said that, are we there? Are we perfect?
Well, is it a destination? Neither.
Right.
I mean,
It is a moving target.
Yep.
We're not perfect. We always want to see how we can do things. People have become accustomed to a certain level of service. Level of service meaning if I call for a police officer, I want them there yesterday,
Yep.
not 20, 30, 40, an hour later,
Yep.
right? So
you
that
want to go for a walk, you have a nice park that's manicured and you have
maintained
features.
and,
Yep.
and clean, no
Your
trash,
streets are
no trash, and those
drivable.
types of things.
Yep.
Fire, if you call and you're having a problem at home health wise, you want an ambulance to get there. That level of service
Yep.
is determined by how many people
And the investment you make.
and the investment we make in the people, the efforts in equipment, firehouses, and all those kind of things. And so, how do you do that and maintain, as close to no new revenue rates as you can get?
Sure.
At the same time, there has been an all-out, albeit friendly, this isn't a bad war, but a salary war in the public safety arena, especially in the policing side. Why? Less and less people are going into policing as a job. And as such, departments are raising entry level salaries. Some departments are putting on sign-on bonuses and all of that. Well, we have one of the best police departments in the greater Houston area.
Yep.
I think the best department in the state.
Yep.
But we want to keep our people. We invest a lot of money to train them. We invest a lot of money to keep them. We invest a lot of money in them being here and their training and all those kind of things. And so we don't want to just be cherry picked where they go to another department.
Sure.
So we have to keep up with that. So we've just raised and getting in this budget our salaries and our policing to where we judge ourselves against about 6 departments that we really compete for talent for, and we're now in the upper 3 of those 6 in
I would
salaries.
call that competitive.
And that we made the determination we want to be there because we don't want to lose them.
Right.
We had a good step up. Same thing in fire.
Yeah.
in this budget. So we did all that, and still had do the right thing to increase spending in streets and also maintain our staff levels with good employees, and did that, raising our budget increase is 1.7%.
Right, which
increase,
isn't even keeping up with inflation.
and which really doesn't keep up with inflation. So what that meant going through the budget process in the city manager's office at their leadership with the staff cut $800,000 of physical cuts out of the budget to make that happen. Again, that's efficiencies. That's looking at this every year going, is this something that we need to continue to do?
Right.
Does it meet a strategic priority? If it's not something we need to continue to do, it's gone.
Yeah.
Does it meet or help attribute to a strategic priority? No, it's gone.
Yeah.
And so that's just that continual evaluation and analysis every single year as you go through that, because things may have been a great idea or needed for a season,
sure,
or for a time. Okay, we move on and we do something different.
Well, and we're not afraid to evaluate those things.
Right.
And move away from things that don't make sense anymore, or try new things to continue that evolution.
That's right.
One of the things that continued to come up through the budget development process this year, and sort of the theme that we came out with, and an idea that we've been workshopping and building on over time here, is the idea of people first. And it seems so simple.
But it's hard to deliver.
It is hard to deliver, and it's hard to be.
Yeah.
It can be difficult to be genuine too, because there's a lot to unpack there. But this budget really is a people first focus, right, because of the emphasis on the public safety, both police and fire. The emphasis on the existing staff, so shoring up the things that are here and making the appropriate investments. But when we think about it, broadly, as an organization, the government, the city of Pearland government, is 75-ish% of the total budget, operations and maintenance budget, goes to people. It's salaries and benefits. It's the people that make up the work that gets done. It's people that make the community, and the community is made of people.
Right.
Right. So it's people working
People
for
to people.
And
It's
so
people to people.
we need that to be forefront in everything that we do.
Right.
The people that enjoy this community, are here because of the people that work here. And if the people that live here didn't live here, the people that work here wouldn't need to work here, right? So they're very symbiotic between the two. And the more effectively we lean into that, the easier it is to go through those optimizations and say, is this the right thing for our people and for the people in the community? And so it was an interesting process to watch and to be a part of.
Well, and that's going to be something that year after year, month after month, quarter after quarter, that we continue to evaluate, right?
Sure.
And one of the things we want, like you said, we're a people first organization, because who are our customers?
Right.
And I use that word deliberately, customers, because again, if we're going to be like a business, and from a business perspective, the people that we serve are our customers. And so we want to make sure that we're customer centric, customer focused, that we're responding to the customers, we're listening to the customers, right?
Yep.
And keep in mind, that means we're listening to a whole lot of people.
Sure.
Not a single, not alone,
right.
but a whole lot of people. And then we deploy best practices. And so we're getting better. We've got better focus on how we receive information, phone calls, people reaching out to the city. We have a better way that's coming into our city now. We have a team dedicated to answering the phones. It's not a person here and a person here and a person here.
Right.
It's all those phone numbers come now central into a team of people. We just took them from these other areas and created it again using the people we had. We didn't create new positions. We just reclassified them and put them together.
Yep.
And now what we're able to do is track those calls. We're able to track that business, because it might be that we have to reach out to a certain department, get some answers, and then get back. Well, we're able to close those loops and get that information faster, quicker, smoother, more accurate, because we can
more of a clearinghouse for
correct.
Issues.
And because nobody likes to call the city, leave a message, and never hear back.
Well, and one of the things that Trent's mentioned specifically, and I know this is one of his established initiatives, I'm sure he's worked with you all in council on this, is try calling your cable company or your electric provider, and try getting a person on the phone.
Right.
And the reality is not everybody wants to speak to a person, but some people do.
Right.
And going back to the people first thing, meeting residents where they want to be met.
Correct.
And that's the thing.
Correct.
We have the basis for it, but now how do we build on it? And how do we optimize that plan?
And in that, like, one of the things that's in this budget is a complete update to the website and all those kind of things. And so it's been needed. There's a tremendous amount of information, on the website. It's hard to extract it. And so you got to know where to go and those kinds. It's really hard to get into it. So as we do that, here's where AI can kind of come into play. And we don't want to be dependent on AI, but we want to use AI as a tool to help people first, right?
Yep.
And like you said, there may be 75 or 80% of people, they don't really want to talk to somebody. They just want to have access to the information.
Yep.
We have to do a better job of getting the access to the information so people can readily find it on the website and beyond, right? And so, but when somebody wants to talk to a live body,
they need to make that.
We have to have that ready, willing, and able to do that. Now we're getting better. We're not there, but we're continually working on our process to be better.
Sure.
And so again, that's business taking it in, listening to their customers, understanding what we need to do better, and get better. It means having the right people working for us. It means all those kind of things.
Yep.
So I it's a good budget process. It's a good, the actual process itself was pretty smooth.
Sure.
And so got that done, got it behind.
Financially speaking, for the average home value in Pearland, the city's portion of the tax rate, or the city's Well, tax rate.
You know, we lowered our tax rate a half a penny, and so for the median homestead value in Pearland, actually meant a $12 decrease in their tax bill.
So, and we're only one portion of your
Right.
overall tax bill, roughly
Right.
25 to 30%, depending on where you are. So that doesn't take into
Well,
consideration
and
MUDs
so that number's changing a little bit. So if you've been following the state legislature,
Mhm.
they've been the last two sessions, they've added $140,000 exemptions to the school bills.
Mhm.
So it's lowering the value on the school side. So what
that's
that
changing the
means
percentage.
is, and if school districts are keeping their tax rates somewhat flat or lower, just a little bit or whatever, it means the percentage of your overall tax bill from the city is actually going up a little bit because theirs is coming down. It's okay.
Yeah.
As long as your overall tax bill, you're seeing some decline in it.
Yep.
That's a route to go. But on the city, we're very cognizant of that.
Sure.
We've got things that need to be done in the right manner. So you go back to business and running it like a business. One of the things that happens throughout our organization is it's people to people. It's people first. We have people. We have somebody that leaves employment at the city.
Mm-hmm.
The very first question the department head asks themselves, and certainly their direct report in the city manager's office asks, is, can we absorb that position?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to replace that position?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to, put a body in that seat?
Right.
Can we absorb it? Can we remove it? And so and again, those are continual conversations that happen as we move through, those types of things. There are certain positions that, you have to have the bodies.
Right.
Other positions, maybe we're able to absorb it.
Yep.
And again, that's what business does. When they look and see somebody leave, they go to work on, well, can I absorb it, or do I have to, rehire somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good exercise and
Yeah.
and an important one for maintaining, the vitality and the spirit of our organization.
And I'll say that conversation wasn't happening 5 years ago.
Hmm.
Those types
Interesting.
of conversations weren't happening 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so culture has changed at the city. Be more business friendly, business minded,
Sure.
business centric, customer focused, customer centric. And that just takes time, effort, takes
intentionality.
takes a guy like myself and the council, asking for it. When you got business owners on the council who are focused on their customers in real business,
Yeah.
they bring that mindset to the council. So there's a real focus along the council to be customer centric, customer focused, and doing the right thing. And so that just helps the whole organization be,
Sure.
I think, more efficient and better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have a list of questions, people that ask questions ahead of time?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to? Yeah. Bailey Road.
Quick update on Bailey Road. We've heard, why is it stalled? What's going on and everything else. So about 3 months ago, one of the last pieces that was very, very critical to that, fencing over the railroad tracks. There's a certain type of fencing that has to be installed per probably federal regulations.
Right.
It's somebody's regulations. And so fence material showed up, wrong material. So
Which happens.
It happens. So wrong material showed up by the contractor. So I had to go back to the drawing board, find the material, get it here. And so they were in the last stages. And a lot of people go, well, why didn't they just finish everything else? Well,
Right.
The work that they have left to finish is all in the center median.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they wanted to do was move the eastbound over to the new surface,
Mm-hmm.
westbound stay on the existing service, 1 lane each direction. There's 4 lanes there, 1 in each direction, so they can then close off that center.
Yep.
And
focus on the median work.
safely work on the center.
Yep.
Okay. When the fencing material didn't show up, they couldn't use that other side. So to keep their crews safe, they moved their crews to some other work
Mm-hmm.
until this comes in. Now they're going to be remobilizing their work crews probably tomorrow,
That's what
depending
my
on
understanding.
weather. Depending on weather.
Oh, right. We do.
Depending on weather, they're going to be mobilizing, scheduled to mobilize tomorrow. They're going to redirect the traffic. So you'll have one lane going east, 1 lane going west on each side of the structure. And they've got about 60 days of work left. to redo the crossovers and those types of things in the median, get that thing done and knocked out.
Yeah.
Good news is they're so far ahead of schedule, even with the delay. I think they can finish up and still be ahead of schedule.
That's awesome.
So that's good news.
I think the most significant change with the traffic switch for those that go to the recreation center, if you're coming eastbound on Bailey, you can't turn left into the front entrance.
So you'll need to turn on veterans
and go behind and then come back
and
around.
come into that other entrance. That's
when
correct.
everything's said and done, when they have the medians done, there will be a cut through there,
Yeah.
so you can get in the front. But that's
Yeah.
one of the things that they have to work on.
Yeah.
So for the time being, they're going to shut off that.
Yeah.
So either approach westbound, turning right into the front, or veterans and come around the backside.
Yeah.
But that's exciting work. It's good to see. It's
Yeah.
been a long time. I say a long time coming. That project was, I mean,
Gone pretty smooth.
Yep.
Building an overpass is not easy.
No, for sure.
It's just not time consuming.
It'll be a great thing, especially for the rest of Bailey. I mean, the way that it just makes sense right there. So we're excited to see that come through. Sticking on streets. So our first question, Joan Beatty asked, when will streets be restriped? It's hard to see the lines in a lot of streets. Dangerous, right?
Actually, can't remember if it was Monday night or 2 weeks ago. We actually awarded a bid for some restriping. And so I'll
I don't
ask
think it was this last one. I think it was the meeting before that.
Yeah, meetings. I'm sorry, meetings sometimes run together when the timing of it. But so bottom line is, anytime we come up on a new budget year, we typically, those types of things we run through. We have a contract and we're done, and then it's new budget year coming. So I would expect some additional striping coming sooner rather than later. But let's reach out to her in a private message specifically. Let's see if there's a roadway that's specific to what she's referring to, and that way we can link her up through Yvette's office and make sure we get a ticket pulled on that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Next section, we're going to talk developments and properties.
Okay.
So David Steinberg asked an update on the abandoned property at 2680 Business Center Drive.
Yeah, that's a good question. So they're referring to the defunct assisted living center on Business Center Drive. If you'll recall, about 4 years ago, the developer passed away on that project, and the bank had to take it over. So the bank still has it. They have shored the property up a little bit better, so it's safer. But we've had some conversations with the bank about demoing it. At the same time, I think they've had a nonprofit who might want to step in and take a look at it as an assisted living center. And so behind the scenes, I do know that the bank has received some bids on demoing it. So we're kind of waiting to see if they go under contract with this nonprofit group to do an assisted living center, or if they don't, I think the bank's going to kind of move forward and get it demoed. That would be good news to bring the eyesore down.
Sure.
We still have a ways to go on what happens property wise, and how does it develop and all those kind of things. It'd have to get into private hands and move forward. To which I think the question here, I don't know what the last time I looked at it, the bank.
How much would it cost to purchase the property from the bank and demolish it?
What was owed to the bank, if I remember, was in the $5 million range, ish. So again, I don't know if that's the number. If the bank takes a loss, I'm not sure. Demoing something like that's probably $200,000 or $300,000, to do that. He says here, I'd like the city to take it and turn it into a rec center, which is badly needed on the west side. That would have to go to a vote of our residents. And
that'd have to be a bond package item.
That would have to be a bond package item, and I would imagine a rec center on that site would be not quite as big as this one because the site's a little bit smaller. You're probably talking $25 million to build, to build a rec center the right way there. But that would be something for a future bond program we could potentially look at. At the same time, we'll see what the market comes up with, but I think if we can get it demoed and cleared, the unsightliness will go away. the safety aspects
The
of it
risk of it, yeah.
will be much better. But that's kind of the update on it.
Okay.
More to come. Certainly, if we get to a point where we're going to demo it, if the bank demos it, we'll need to be out with the HOAs and things of that nature out in that immediate area,
Absolutely.
so they're aware when it comes down.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Yeah.
an important one to make sure people are tuned into. Next one is Shanna Keene. She asked, what's going on with development on Orange? What is it? It seems abandoned. You can't use the sidewalk in front of it.
I'm assuming they're talking about Mission. So Mission is a building. It's a company that manufactures metal buildings
Mhm.
for other businesses. I don't know where they are in their development process. It's something we'll have to just engage. More
Joe,
than
if we can get,
likely
reach out to her directly.
more than likely they're probably waiting on something or material
Mhm.
for install or something. That sometimes happens, or getting materials in, getting certain things in the construction process.
And Shannon, if you're watching, we do
Yeah.
have a map on GIS that has commercial permits and where they are in the process. So if it's clearing and grubbing, if it's new construction, if it's rehab, any commercial permit that's in the system has a pin on the map, and you can click on it and see where they are in process. So
Right.
maybe check that out too, but we'll also reach out
Yeah.
and see if we can get more details on that. Rod Lewis asked, does anyone know why the Ivy District development was called off? Would have been a great location for new restaurants.
So actually, it wasn't called off.
Mhm.
So they have their first multifamily mixed-use building up. It's about
First parking garage in Pearland.
first stacked parking garage in Pearland. It's 4 stories, 5-story building. They're about 70% leased now.
Wow.
Over there, and the bottom floor is all for restaurant retail type of thing. They are struggling getting the retail restaurant to buy off on it
Because the density is
so
not there yet, or?
it really wasn't called off. It's like anything else. It's a market-based approach on when they need to bring certain things online. And that, so the Ivy lofts
Mhm.
are up. Hit the tax rolls somewhere in the 65 million range.
Ooh.
Was a massive project.
Yeah.
They have another one scheduled. There's some townhomes going up next door. That's all going to help maybe drive some restaurant retail there. So I will tell Rod and anybody watching, the Bass Pro site.
Yeah.
All I can say is it's under contract. And our staff's been working with the development team on a mixed use type of development there that would bring in some restaurants. This group is well connected into good restaurants, good restaurant operators.
Cool.
And those types of things. So more to come in short order. I think they're gearing up for their first workshop with planning and zoning and council.
Oh, that'll be exciting.
Maybe in late October.
Wow.
So just about a month from now.
Yeah,
So
that'll be fun. Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned, and we'll see, what they come up with. But our staff's been working with this new development team for pretty much on a weekly basis right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for that. Next one, Ronald Meyer asked, I've seen videos of First Amendment auditors. I'm curious to know if the city employees and police department are trained to not have a meltdown over citizens taking videos in public spaces like sidewalks, public areas, inside publicly owned buildings. What is the official response to these situations? Will the public constitutionally protected rights be upheld?
Yeah. So great question. So a lot of our public buildings, like City Hall, we have a receptionist in here. And in other buildings, they have been trained on First Amendment auditors coming in with a camera, asking questions. Again, goes back to being people first, being people and customer centric.
Right.
We're to, answer their questions. We're to, be courteous and nice and those types of things to them. At the same time, I know they can approach police officers. My concern is sometimes if you have a First Amendment auditor that rolls up on a scene, police are doing their jobs. They're dealing with somebody or dealing, maybe having to arrest somebody, maybe having a traffic stop or whatever the case is. And there is protected speech, which we're all about. At the same time, we can't interfere with the First Amendment auditor filming something.
Right.
And so, because it's their right to do so.
Sure.
There's case law on that, and there's actually laws on the books, that govern that. So our guys are trained in that. It's like anything else. They need that continual training to make sure that if and when they're come in contact with that they act appropriately and courteously and those types of things.
Yep.
At the same time, I would hope that a First Amendment auditor wouldn't put themselves in a position where they interfere or cause a problem, putting an officer in danger, putting other members of the public in danger, putting the First Amendment auditor themselves in danger.
Sure.
And causing a problem, there. So probably more than anything, we probably need to get with PD. There's an official, they have official, policy on all
Policies,
this.
yeah.
And we can give that to Mr. Meyer
Ron, we can
here,
send that back, yep.
and what the official policies are. But we do have that comes up. It's been a while since we really had much as far as a First Amendment auditors kind of coming into our buildings and those types of things. But it does happen. They're a member of the it's just like any member of the public walking in and asking questions.
These are public buildings.
Right.
One thing you will see though, in First Amendment auditor content, the situations that go poorly, and I'm not talking about just in the city of Pearland, I'm talking about anywhere, are the ones that make it to their social media channels, to their YouTube channels.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot from Pearland because of our response, or lack, because of our how we engage with them, because it doesn't create content that works well for their channels. And so I'm sure there are a lot of those situations that never make it anywhere public. Sure. Because they're not even worth posting.
But it's like anything else. Our police officers, firefighters, public employees, we go through training with them periodically. It's just like anything else. They need to go through that training, more often than not, just to be aware. It's situational awareness. Just be aware this may happen when you're out on the streets, and be aware and in tune. If somebody's coming up, how do you respond?
And it helps to go back to kind of what we talked about with our strategic priorities, and having, the clarity of vision of, where we are as an organization, what our responsibility is. Being a people first organization, First Amendment auditors are people too.
Yep.
And we want to be helpful. Like in communications, right? We're, as forthcoming and transparent and proactive with communications, information that people, because they have a right to it.
Right.
And so we want to engage with those people.
Right.
We don't want to be baited into.
And if a First Amendment auditor happened up on a traffic stop, I don't know the constitutionality of them filming. Obviously, the police officer is subjected,
Sure.
to being seen. But what about the car driver?
Right.
Are they protected?
Right.
Are they? I don't know what the Constitution. I don't know what the laws say on them being blasted on social media or anything like that. I don't know. I'm not an attorney.
Not an attorney.
I don't even want to play one on TV. And so but that's a great question. It probably gets into some areas that certainly attorneys need to weigh in on. But our guys, when these types of things happen, they talk about it in their roll call. They talk about it in just as a reminder as you're out there. We just need to be continually reminded that a First Amendment auditor may come up and here's how you respond, here's how you react, just continually making sure that policy is in front of them so they understand it. So
next one, Doug Calhoun asked, can the mayor or city manager explain to the citizens what a public safety answering point or a PSAP is and the function of a PSAP?
So first time I've ever heard a public safety answering point or a PSAP. So I'm not going to attempt to answer here because I don't know what that sounds like. A legal term.
Yeah. Right.
Sounds like a legal term.
And we're not going to play attorneys.
Yeah. So Mr. Calhoun, we can respond with something from the city attorney, maybe in the thread. But it's the first time I've seen that, so I don't want to try to weigh in.
Sure. We'll get a response from our city attorney on that and send that in a comment or a message. Jennifer McDaniel asked, Why is there such a high turnover in the fire department? Tax dollars are used to train employees and then they leave. Thoughts on turnover? I mean, personally, I don't feel like I've heard of a high turnover.
Yeah, I haven't heard that we have a high turnover rate in fire or necessarily anywhere else. I will say we have had some turnover in fire over the last 3 years with new leadership and new culture, coming into that department with Chief Taylor. Certainly, you're going to have people not wanting to be a part of that culture, or be a part of, what's being built over there, and they'll leave and go to other departments. So you have that.
Yep.
That's just kind of a natural. You're going to have some of that turnover. Secondly, as I mentioned during the budget process, there's an actual competition money-wise with fire and police going on in our greater region right now. So we've got to be competitive on salary and benefits. We have to be, or we will lose people to other departments. And so both of those working together have probably caused some turnover, which is why I think last year or 2 years ago we made an effort in our fire. This year, some additional effort to really get our fire department where it needs to be, so we're not losing based on pay. Okay. So those are continually things that we have to look at. There is no one-hit wonder that we just do this and it goes away.
Sure.
So that happens. So I hope that answered the question. We do train them. We do all that. We want to leave and get that turnover rate down as much as possible. And then you do have some that
you're going to have attrition.
You're going to have some that's just attrition with retirements.
Yep.
You are going to have people that just wake up one day and they just go, I just can't do this anymore.
Sure.
And they're getting out of the field altogether.
Yep.
And that happens.
Yeah.
That's a part of it as well. But all of that kind of makes up what's going on.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wendy asked, where can I find the answers to the last Talk of the Town questions? We provided the link, I believe in the, okay, yeah. They're provided right there. And we responded to that as well. So if you ever need those, feel free to reach out to us. And then the streams also, we keep it published on all of our platforms. It's available on our YouTube channel as well. Let's see. Monica asked, is there an update on when the entire Silver Lake community will be brought into the city limits?
So, Ms. Morgan, great question. In 2017, the state legislature and governor changed into law how annexations can be done. And at that time, we did not have a strategic, an initiative with those MUDs to bring them in. And so it would be considered a forced annexation, not a requested annexation or a strategic partnership that could bring an annexation in. So because of that, it will take a vote of the people in Silver Lake, that area, and those MUDs to come into the city. So that's not something that the city initiates. We don't go out and ask them, do you want to come in? It's up to the people in Silver Lake to say, we want to come in. And so
Monica.
So it would take a vote of those MUDs to come in, and the city, and I don't know the legalities on, do we have to accept it or not? I have to get back into the law. I've slept a few nights since all that law went through, but all of it changed. And so we had them on a path to bring them into the city, putting them into annexation plans and all that kind of stuff, but it would have been a forced annexation.
I see.
And because we didn't have a strategic partnership agreement with those MUDs or anything like that predating, we can't unilaterally just
which is different than like Avalon Terrace, which
had a strategic plan with us, and so we were at a point where we could. We don't have that with the MUDs here, and so she's right. We've been talking about how much debt they have and when they would come in and the timing. That was all true at one point.
State law changed all that.
But when the state law changed, it changed how they how when and where we can annex them.
Maria asked, is there any backup plan for the Christmas parade this year? and due to bad weather. And also, when will we be getting at Trader Joe's?
So great question on the Christmas parade. Unfortunately, as far as backup plan, like another night or another time, our biggest problem with that is TxDOT.
Mm-hmm.
518 Broadway is a TxDOT roadway. So we have to get a permission from them to even do the parade. Getting permission for 2 different nights, and we don't know what that's going to be. We've been told TxDOT won't do that.
So they are,
Because I've asked.
Yeah. Special events is talking about it now, though.
Right.
That is a thing that they're trying to work on.
How do we do that?
Yeah.
And have a backup plan. And I see here, cancel due to bad weather with the quotes. So last year, at the end of the day, the reason it was called is we actually talked to weather experts directly. We don't make that call. Right. We wait on them
because we don't have a meteorologist on staff.
And the meteorologist that we were talking to, looking at the forecast, looking at where things were going, and it didn't happen. They were just wrong. We admit that they were just wrong. But what they were seeing was not the potential for rain, it was the potential for lightning.
Yep.
At the time of the parade.
Yep.
And so it was the lightning that alerted us, and that's the reason why it was canceled. So I wish I had a better answer than that. We do want to have a better backup plan.
Yep.
Maybe it's not a parade there, maybe it's something different that we can control. But we want to try to get and do that better.
So stay tuned, Maria, for that. Special events is working on that. So
keep in mind, because we have a massive scheduling that goes on with fire, police, all of our public works and parks and everything else, and we have them scheduled for one night. And when we automatically change it to another date, that schedule may not be available. Well, so we have to work through the logistics of that.
And to that point, I mean, all of the effort that goes into that, that especially the parade, the special events team, that's one of the events that they look forward to most throughout the year. So, not to ask for pity, but it's hard on them too. It's a really sad day when they have to cancel that, and so they're doing everything they can to make sure.
And as far as Trader Joe's, that's going to be a Trader Joe question. It's really on
Joe himself.
Yeah, Trader Joe himself on whether or not Pearland is a market they want to be in. We as a city don't really go and recruit name brand retail establishments.
We try to create the market that's appealing.
Correct. We try to create a market that they would want to come into. But a Trader Joe's, historically, we haven't been, quote, dense enough for what they want to see. Having said that,
density, you'd have to have apartments or.
Yeah. So having said that, I do know Trader Joe's has looked at the city. They've inquired about a few things. But certainly nothing, to my knowledge, where an announcement or anything like that could be made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we do have a Sprouts. I mean, that's
right.
They have Trader Joe-esque things there, but
Trader Joe light.
yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Christina asked, what is the city? Oh, this is kind of in that same vein. What is the city doing to attract more business besides car washes and storage units? Apparently lacks family-friendly, kid-friendly recreation entertainment options.
Yeah, so it's a great question, Christina. First off, we don't go attract car washes and storage units. That's a market-based approach. So they come because they think the market's here. And so
we haven't seen a car wash in, I mean, it's been a while.
We've had a couple go up and being built, but those were approved like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we haven't had one in a while. Same for storage units. We haven't had a storage unit approved other than a boat and RV storage, very upper scale over by the landfill off of Dixie Farm Road, which certainly you're not going to put an upper end restaurant in a situation like that. So that's a boat and RV storage that we did approve. It's a great location for it. As far as family friendly and kid friendly, again, it's a market approach. It's a market that has to, sorry about that. It's a market that has to want to be here. Now, I mentioned just a few minutes ago that the Bass Pro site is under contract.
Which would be.
And so with that developer, a entertainment options those types of things are heavily being considered as a part of that. We would like to see that personally back on the east end of town. So if you had that, you'd have kind of the west end of town and some things there back on the east end of town. I would love to see some kind of an entertainment center, entertainment options,
Yep.
on Pearland Parkway in connection, with the last available land that's over there.
Well,
but again, it's going to have to be market driven because we had a bowling alley and it went out of business because nobody was bowling.
Right.
And so, I keep, I hear people go, I wish we had the bowling alley back. Well, so it's an option to be there. And here's the hard part for a lot of those entities, like just like a Dave and Buster's, there's a Dave and Buster's at Baybrook Mall.
Yep.
So they won't locate another one that close. There's a Main Event over on 45.
Yep.
They won't locate one that close.
Right.
So our proximity to what's over in the 45 corridor hurts us in having some of those types of things.
Well, and at the same time, Monday night, actually, the Old Town Revitalization Plan, so things that the city's doing, there was a years-long process to look at the original town site of Pearland, and which is a very difficult thing to do because of all the pre-existing infrastructure and how the land's laid out and all of that good stuff. But sort of opportunities for public-private partnership and catalyst areas where you can create things like that. And so there are 5 identified areas that were workshopped with the community and shared with the stakeholder group and presented to council and P&Z and EDC. And there are renderings that show this is what this could look like, and it's pretty fascinating stuff.
And again, it'll take some of the market and the private development to
raise their hand and say
and be a part of that.
Yep.
But we want to be here to help them through that and help them be a part of that, right? And be business friendly and welcoming to make sure that we, make those things happen.
The very first thing that you can see, sort of the closest attachment to that, and we had the first one this year, is the Grand Arts and Eats Festival, which will be coming up this next year in March, I think.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's right. So keep an eye out for that. That's a sort of a pop-up thing, but it's a conversion of Grand Boulevard there that is different than anything we've ever seen before.
Right. And we want to see more of that
over
time, and it'll take organizers to help do that.
Okay, so
great
John,
question. Great question.
Fantastic question. Thank you for that, Christina. John Sanders asked, where can I request a left turn signal have a flashing yellow?
Oh, good question. It's not.
He said look for it on the website. There is a traffic section on the website.
So why don't we reach out specifically and have him give us an intersection?
Yeah, and John,
we'll see. Now, as far as flashing yellow, so we have been systematically changing intersections to a flashing yellow. It takes money and certain components to do that. Mm-hmm. So we've been systematically over time making those changes. It's been a little bit harder on our TxDOT roadways than it has been on our city-controlled roadways. So I would caution it may be one that might be slated that we're moving into. It also, somebody is desperately wanting to talk to me. But at the same time, let's get the intersection and we can interface with him directly.
And then last question we had on the ones that were submitted, Christina asked, what was Pearland's role in the creation of a behavioral health hospital in Brazoria County that the state gave $5 million towards?
Great question. So that was the whole effort was actually led by our Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce, through their healthcare committee, probably now 3 years ago, kind of identified that we really needed, we need mental health and behavioral health all over our state. Sure. We need to have it addressed in a better fashion than what we have it now. Having said that, Brazoria County itself, 400,000 people, and does not have a behavioral health hospital.
Right. No dedicated,
hospital for that. So through the Chamber's leadership, started that dialogue. Actually, they paid about $40,000 for some studies to see what the need is, kind of a needs analysis.
Sure.
Raised the question of we needed about 215 or 230 bed hospital
Mm-hmm.
to really meet our need.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind our sheriff's department, for lack of a better term, they got mental health issues and patients in their jail on a
Yep.
daily and nightly basis
Right.
that could use a true hospital
Right. A
for
bed.
some of those,
Yep.
to be in. So through the chamber's leadership, got the need, took that need to the legislature to start. And the legislature wanted to see the second phase of that, and that is the sustainability of it.
Mhm.
What's the business plan and business model? Who would be in charge, and how would that be self-sustaining? So the state's not necessarily coming in and
Saying,
money
yep.
day in
Do
and
it.
day out and do that. So
Yep.
the $5 million for that is supposed to help put the next level.
Mhm.
They need to look for land, and they need to do the really the business model and the sustainability of it.
Yep.
So as far as the city specifically being obvious, we were there to support the chamber, their efforts.
Sure.
We went to Austin along with them to
Right.
advocate on behalf of
Yeah, that was
Brazoria
their
County.
number one.
Yeah. Yeah, number one
issue.
initiative
Yep.
from the chamber. So Pearland Day in Austin, Brazoria County Days in Austin. We as a city there supporting that effort. And having said that, we're not necessarily asking or looking for the hospital to be in Pearland.
Sure.
We know it's good for our county.
Because
It's
we're
good
on
for
the
our
north
city
end of the county.
because we're on the far north end of the county. And secondly, strategically, we don't necessarily want it on the far north end of the county because Harris County
Yeah.
and patients from Harris County would more than likely fill it up more than Brazoria
Then
County.
Brazoria
So
County, yeah.
more to come on that. I'm trying to remember the entity, Galveston, Brazoria County, the entity in Galveston County, their offices are in Galveston County, that the money's going to be directed through. But for Brazoria County, I can't remember the name of it off the Gulf Coast Center, I think.
Yeah.
And so, more to come as that works its way through. The hope and the goal is then there's going to request to be made for about half of that. So it's $1 million a bed.
Mhm. Yeah.
So $115 million to build the first phase
Mhm.
of that hospital. So fingers crossed. Talk to your legislator and your senators about it. Hopefully that's something we can get slated in the next session.
Yeah.
In 27 and then get funded.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any comments or questions in the?
We got a few. I'm not able to pull them up, or setup's a little different here, but I can read them out to you.
Okay.
We kind of hit this one earlier. In a prior meeting, the mayor said if the West Side wanted a recreation center, we would have to ask the citizens. How do we do that? How do we get that in the ballot?
Yeah. So in our charter, golly, just went blank. Fix a constitution. In our charter, we have what we call initiative and recall.
Mhm.
Okay. And so what that means, if you want an initiative, this would be an initiative. There's a certain process that's outlined in our charter, and it's a petition of the people.
Which you get through the city secretary's office.
Which you can
right?
get through the city secretary's office.
Good point, 'cause they're right over here.
And the rules and what does that look like in a
Yep.
petition. And so if there's a petition and it meets all the rules and regulations of our charter, it's something that we would call for an election. And there's timing that it has to go through, so they can give you all the ins and outs of how that's done.
Yeah.
But it would be a
starts with the
petition.
city secretary's
So,
office.
just like anyone, you have a right to speak to your government. You have a right to petition your government. So it's a petition drive. It's a petition based
To say
approach.
we want a
Mhm.
rec center on this end of town.
Yeah.
Got it.
Awesome. Cool. Moving on. Next question is, what do you see as the greatest strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the city over the next 5 years?
Ooh, fascinating.
Yeah.
Great question.
Great question. So let's take them one at a time.
Strengths.
Strengths. So greatest strengths of our city right now, I think, is our people.
I was going to say.
And I don't mean just the city. I'm talking our residents.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
our citizens. We have an incredible strength in our diversity of people. Another great strength, I'll just say it, it's our location in the greater
Yeah.
Houston area.
Yeah.
There's a reason people and we are the community of choice, is because people
You got to put the emphasis on the.
people choose to be here because of our proximity to Houston and the job markets and the amenities, but yet not living in Houston. A huge strength are our schools and our education opportunities. Pearland ISD is routinely ranked in the top 5 in the greater Houston area.
Mhm.
Alvin, through their growth, have really been advancing up that ladder
Sure.
and doing some great stuff. They have great schools in Alvin and Pearland ISD. Another tremendous strength is our public safety and our officials in public safety. We're routinely ranked one of the safest communities, not only in the area but in the country, and even bordering a pretty unsafe part of Houston.
Mhm.
It's one of the reasons we put the resources we do into policing, is because of the people that we have coming north of us into our community. So those are some strengths. Weaknesses. Right now, a big weakness is long-term monies and dedicated funds for long-term maintenance of our infrastructure.
Yep.
That is a big challenge for me. That is a huge focus, that we have some kind of a program to making sure that our neighborhood streets, water, sewer, drainage, and everything else can be rehabbed and brought up to speed. One day, even in Shadow Creek, people go, well, that's all brand new.
Yeah, it's 20 years old now. 25.
The
years
oldest sections of Shadow Creek are, 23 and 24 years
Yeah.
old now. And so, they're going to be 40 years old one day. They're going to be 50 years old one day. And so how, what, and where do we have that maintenance to go back and rehab and do all those kind of things? I see that as a weakness right now. It's something that we want to focus more on, and how do we get there? So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. We have great opportunities in the lower Kirby area to be the all caps to be the biomed hub.
Yeah, and you see it trending that way
of
already.
The greater Houston area. We now have 7 or 8 biomedical firms, in that area. We have another one that's announced coming in, United Imaging. Went and visited their place in Houston. They're moving to triple the space in our city here over the next year.
And is Indris Hauser, are they expanding?
They're expanding. They're expanding their operations, expanding their footprint, Lonza and the like. And so we have an opportunity to be that. If you followed the governor, you followed the governor's economic development team, there's more and more and more biomed type things nationally that are looking to locate. And I would love to have that pipeline with the governor's office and having that. We've got available land, we've got available buildings that are on their way through development out there.
And you look at the trend in Houston, generally speaking, biomed is, this is a good place for.
Because of the med center, and because of our workforce and talent in this area in the greater Houston region, that is an incredible opportunity for us to gain and have those jobs in our community, our people working at those jobs, as opposed to commuting somewhere else. So that's a great opportunity.
And then biggest threats?
Biggest threats, I would, a couple things. One, we have sales tax threats because we're growing as a community and as a county south into Manville, Iowa Colony. And as they take on more and more retail opportunities down there, let's face it, about 27 to 30% of our sales tax comes from people who do not live here.
Right.
And so they're traveling in here for our opportunities.
And if they don't have to travel, we don't get the sales.
So a threat would be is that they have more and more retail establishments going south. They don't have to travel as far. Makes sense for them. They're not going to be in here. So we have a threat for long-term for some sales tax being flat or even decreasing. So I say that. So places like the town center and others, we need to make sure that they're fresh. We need to make sure that we work with them. We don't, it's not our property. It's not our decisions, but stay relevant and stay up to date, stay refreshed. The town center is now 18 years old. People forget that it's 18 years old. And so, making sure that CBL, the owners are redoing and keeping it fresh. Same thing with all of that over there, the retail nodes and centers that are on Pearland Parkway, making sure that they're fresh and people coming here. So that's a threat long-term. And then just a threat to our particular city. I'm going to take a moment to be a little political. and that is just continual legislative interference
Mm.
in how cities are governed, how cities are planned, how cities develop. We had SB 15 this last year. What that is it requires mandates. If it's 5 acres or more unplatted residential land, a developer can come in and put 20-foot wide lots without any say in the city. Now, we were initially bracketed into that.
Yeah.
We worked with the legislature to get bracketed out, so it starts at 150,000 population and goes north. But that's a threat.
Right.
It's a threat to our people saying we want to see this or not. We had 4 public hearings for things Monday night.
And we're not saying we wouldn't have 20-foot wide lots, but
it's the mandatory. We don't even have a say in it.
Right. They would just do it. Yeah.
They can just do it. So there's more and more of those types of threats coming at the city and our city level from the legislature. So it's a continual battle, and it's becoming more and more of a battle. They want to take control away from the locals and do it out of Austin. And central planning typically doesn't work well.
Sure.
So that's a threat long term to our city. It's a great question.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great
question.
exercise.
Thank you for that.
So hope I answered your question.
Excuse me. And then the last question comes in from Mayor Dan Davis.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend, do you think Manville will ever overtake Pearland's ranking as the #1 place to live in Texas?
Not if I can do anything, Dan.
Hey, we love a good challenge.
No, I'll say, Manville and Iowa Colony both coming down the line, and then Alvin south of us,
Sure.
kind of on the east end of our community. Great mayors, great people, great city management, working through those cities. And
quick shout out to Mayor Dan Davis, the mayor's minute that he does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gold.
Does a good job with it.
We follow their socials.
Yeah. But I will say this, it starts now. We got that #1 ranking because of what we started 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And with good planning and
intentionality. I mean,
making hard decisions on things like water and sewer 30 years ago that we're now kind of seeing the fruits of and paying for now. It really means
the fortitude that it takes to do that.
It's having great partners in education. So when you look at the U.S. News and World Report, #1, we didn't even know that was being out there. And what they looked at was job opportunities and job prospects. They looked at unemployment rates. They looked at educational opportunities. They looked at quality of life. They looked at housing affordability and those types of things. And so all of that kind of went into their matrix. And, we popped up #3 in the country and #1 in Texas. Quite frankly, League City, #6 in the United States, #2 in Texas, one of our sister cities to the east. And so, it was a surprise to us because we didn't even know they were, doing the deal. Very flattering to get that, but you can't rest on it.
Well, and we don't do it for the rankings, the accolades.
Right.
I mean, we're focused on building the community that.
So Mayor Davis, what I would challenge you with, along with our mayors, in Alvin and Iowa Colony, yourself and on down, is, we need to have that one day where we look up and Brazoria County is the #1 place in the country and the #1 place in Texas to live and raise a family. And we can all work together to make sure that we have a great place to live.
I thought you were going to suggest a mayor's field day or something. We do some
I'm way too old to do that. I've gotten way too old to do that. He's 32 years old. That wouldn't be a fair fight.
Sure, we could find something. No, but I think that's a great goal, and that teamwork aspect of it. Just like we talk in public safety emergencies, things don't just stop at city limits because we want them to.
And the last thing I'll say on that, and we can move on. So Mayor Davis, there is something in the water in Pearland, Texas, that kind of makes us special. And I know you need water. So maybe that's a plug to help you get there.
Love it.
All right.
We have one more.
Okay.
I think we got time. Mayor Davis says congratulations on the ranking. Thank you for the insight. And then we have one last question. What is the city doing to deal with rising housing costs, pricing out younger households and families that want to live in Pearland?
It's probably one of the most difficult questions that we have to tackle, because the city itself doesn't set market pricing. We don't set land cost. We don't set any of
Per
that.
square foot values.
You know, we don't, you know, we're not selling lumber. We're not setting pricing on lumber, concrete, any of those kind of things. So you have to look at a factor of how you get in there. I wish I could dialogue with this person one-on-one and just ask, what does affordable mean to
Right.
you? What does that mean?
That is subjective.
Because everybody has a different definition of affordability.
Yep.
Okay. I've asked people that before, and their question is, well, I want a new home on a 5,000 square foot lot. No, excuse me, a 2,000 square foot home for $200,000, $100 a square. And my response to that is, you can't make that happen.
Yeah.
Not
Not
in the
here.
matrix today. And so we have to, as a city, look at, unfortunately, denser, smaller, because
Mhm.
our land prices are way higher here in Pearland than they are in Manville, in Iowa Colony, south in the county, larger areas. They're just lower because there's more available land, right?
Yeah,
We have
we're-
less land and
Yep.
smaller tracts of land. So smaller tracts and less tracts drive prices up, and we don't set those prices.
Right.
So developers have to be able to go in, buy, and then put a product
Turn
on the
it.
ground. And
Yep.
at the same time, we want it to be a product that's attractive,
Yep.
good for us, long-term, good for us, as well as for someone else. So getting a $300,000 price tag, even on a small lot in a smaller home, is very difficult to achieve.
I was going to suggest go back and watch from Monday night. One of our public hearings was on a developer looking at a piece of property in Old Town site where they had 4 duplexes, 2 stories tall, product, interesting looking product. The other thing that they were considering were 5 townhomes in a row. But just go back and watch that conversation and the dialogue that goes along with that.
Well, and go back to our 4 o'clock meeting, kind of towards the
Right. Yeah,
towards the
Unified
end of
Development
that
Code.
meeting. We're updating our Unified Development Code, and one of the things we talked about was housing,
Right.
and
Right.
how do
That's a
we
great conversation.
how do
to
we
go back and
tweak
look at.
our codes to make that happen. And so we've got a developer looking at a tract right now outside of that, that we kind of turned away their first run at that.
Mhm.
So they're going to be bringing in something that's more of a rear load, attractive, higher density,
Mhm.
but still attractive enough. But the pricing is going to be in the low to mid threes.
Right.
So I go back to, the person who asked the question is, what does affordability mean to somebody?
Right.
And we recognize pricing is being driven to where, young families and others, it's harder and harder to attract them into our
Yep.
community. But we don't control other than the land use
Right.
and how that looks. And so it's a very difficult question to tackle,
Yeah.
but one that we see more often than not,
Sure.
because not
And we talk
everybody's,
about it a lot.
yeah, not everyone's going to live in $1 million home. Not
Right.
everyone's going to live in a $800,000 home. But there are communities around that want to drive up the cost because
Sure.
they want to limit their growth.
Mhm.
And so it's hard. It's
Yeah.
a hard deal. Median price brand new in Manville right now, I know Mayor Davis was in here, is in the low to mid 4s. And
Cool.
again, it's what cost of development. And as a developer myself, I understand the cost factors that go into this.
Sure.
And it's just hard to deliver a product and keeping it at an affordable price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for those questions and everybody that tuned in today. Next month, we usually do this the last Wednesday of the month. Next month,
Yeah.
you and I are out on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think we're going to do
Separately.
it
We're going to do it on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. And so tune in for that. It'll be the end of October. I don't know the date offhand, but it's the last Tuesday of October. I think it's like 28th or 29th, somewhere in there. And in between now and then, we'll follow up with the questions that we got that we said we'd follow up with. And if you have any questions,
28th. Yeah.
28th of October, we'll be back for the next Talk of the Town.
Yeah, been good.
Thanks for the time today.
Great questions, great field of questions. Hopefully you got a better sense of kind of our budget process and what's
Yeah.
driving it, our philosophy on governance and how we do those kind of things. Great
Yeah.
questions. Keep them coming. We do want to follow up with these, make sure that we get
We will.
all these answered for you. But until next time, we appreciate it. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to serve as mayor of this great city, and we look to great things to come in our future.
I will see y'all next time.